Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. The benchmark is hitting you live from your station of attraction, passion, fashion, and action. And of course, we're here all the time to bring latest infos to you. Information well reached, well spiced up in the temple of delight so that you can make good use of it and improve your productivity. The benchmark is an initiative of the Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria, Lagos State branch, and the whole idea is for us to have best practices that relates to surveying so that we can have a well-planned city, a livable place for every Nigerian. You're welcome. My name is Victor Oteri. All right, then last week we continued the dialogue on flood control and management, the Surveyor's Blueprint. And today we're going to be reflecting still very much in the realms of flooding now that the rainy season is very much here. So we'll be talking about flood management and control. What next? And we'll be sipping from the pool of wealth from our surveyors as they bring in recipes for how to get this properly managed. We'll be doing that from now through 11 o'clock. But before then, quickly, let's still get back to the roads and let you know what's going on. A live motorbike reporter did talk about the latest news from the Omole end. Yes, earlier on you had it very, very busy. I wouldn't know if that has faded out right now. So, Sadiq and others, you can keep us posted what's happening with that impediment around Omole roundabout. All right, if you have missed it, it was a following articulated vehicle loaded. But the traffic managers have been able to move that truck to a side. It's just a transloading that was ongoing. That's the last time we tracked that. Okay, let's see if we can get that right away. Hello there. Hello.
Yeah, so Sadiq Yusuf.
Good.
Glory be to God. Right now, the entire content has been taken off the road completely, so it's now safer place. And as I speak, highway managers, personnel of Lagos Waste Management Authority, LOMA, are now working on the road to clean the road so that motorists can have easy flow of traffic on this axis.
Oh,
that is the update.
Good. All right. Thank you so much for calling in promptly to supply that information. Thank you. Okay, Sadiq Yusuf, a live motorbike reporter. He was on the scene to supply that info. So the latest with that is that they are working on cleaning the road. So the highway managers are trying to see how they clean that road so that you can have it pretty good navigating through that corridor. Okay, let me see the last update that we got as well. Okay, this is very still now because that was a long time ago. That we got that feed of an accident between a truck and a small bus, popularly known as Korokwe. Okay, but we'll get more of feeds as things unfold. All right, so the benchmark today, like I said, we're looking at flood control and management. What next? And my guests are in the studios. They are surveyors of many years standing. First off, let me bring in Surveyor AGWU Ogonna Roberts, a member, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Publicity Secretary of the Association of Private Practicing Surveyors of Nigeria, Lagos State branch. Surveyor AGWU Roberts, nice to have you back in Lagos. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Victor.
Right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And he's been joined as well by Surveyor Dapo Fashina, who is also a member, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. All right, Dr. Fashina, nice to have you in the studios. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and thank you for having me.
So it's your first time of being in our studios, right, Dr. Fashina?
That is correct.
Okay, and what do you make of our studios, by the way?
Well, it feels very comfortable.
Look to your left.
Like Canada.
And the cameras.
Like Canada, yes.
We have cameras that can view the roads. So what do you make of that?
That is really impressive. Now I understand how you give live updates about traffic. I originally thought maybe you were using tools like Google Earth, Google Map, but I can see now that you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
This is the best live updates anyone can get.
Wonderful. So we can even track your vehicle with that screen that you see there. If you want us to zoom in on your vehicle, we can do that as well. Okay.
I better not get in trouble.
Okay. So, AGWU Roberts, both of you were in Benin last week for your annual general meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, very correct.
How did it go?
Oh, it was wonderful. The annual general meeting and conference of Nigerian Institution of Surveyors is like our own August meeting. So it's always a wonderful time, and it's a homecoming for all surveyors within the Federal Republic of
Festival
Nigeria.
of surveyors,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So everything went well?
Yes, everything went well.
Good. And I remember then we were still, reflecting a bit about flood control and management. Dapo, how was the experience in Edo when you were there?
Fortunately, we didn't have any flood issues. We had rain, but it wasn't as bad as enough to cause any flooding. Experience-wise, Edo was really relaxing.
Okay.
And we were lucky to be in an area where
things were very good.
Traffic-wise and everything else.
All right, that's cool. All right, so I can say that maybe it was, with hindsight now, we can say it was from your pool of professional acumen that you spoke last week. And just 2 days ago, we had that massive rain, which caused a whole lot of flooding and devastation. So let's even dwell upon that a bit, because the moment it started raining from the early hours, it became a major issue for traffic and those who were about to make use of the roads. So most of the roads were flooded across Lagos, and that became a massive, that was a talking point all through that day. And what just came to mind were some of the things that you were talking about, Surveyor Dapo Fashina. So how did you feel when you saw the flood on Wednesday?
It felt like we spoke about something a few days before, and something similar happened just before this meeting, which means we now have like a basis to actually start talking on. It didn't feel good. I couldn't come out. I was stuck indoor.
Wow, all
day. I didn't want to experience the traffic.
You were monitoring it and you saw what was going on, right?
It wasn't really nice. I also didn't want to damage my vehicle.
Your vehicle, yeah. Right. Surveyor Ogonna Roberts, how was your own experience on Wednesday?
Oh, in fact, I had to cancel a site that I was supposed to be on that day, and it wasn't palatable. I had to reschedule, and it was quite scary, because my wife was on the road, so I had to monitor her all through.
So it was more or less like you were on the road too?
Yes, I had to monitor her all through till she got to her office.
So let's talk about this, because we've been offering some recipes from the
reason why we have. If you notice, the areas that are that are connected one way or the other to the lagoon by means of canals were the ones that suffered the most from this experience. At the time when we had the flooding, and at the time when the rain started, we actually had a tide that was higher than the normal mean sea level. We had a tide that was rising as high as 0.9 meters at that time. So with all the amount of water coming into the lagoon at the time and the high tide, we were expected to have like an overflow of the lagoon. Now, bear in mind that as we have water coming into the lagoon, the inlet, it also has to go out. So where are the outlets? We only have the Lagos Harbour, which we know is constantly being dredged for shipping because of the shipping activities there.
Right.
But if you look at the map of Lagos, you will notice that before you get to the harbour, the Lagos Lagoon has to go through the Kari Creek and also through the Third Mainland Bridge, Eco Bridge. Those two links are the links into the Lagos Harbour. So even if the Lagos Harbour is perfectly dredged, we have those links, and human activities like bridges or even sediment deposits can reduce the opportunity for those areas for the water to flow out, and as such result in overflow. So
from your observation, are those links, are they properly linked?
The links are there.
Okay.
We have the Lekki Link Bridge, one of the human activities there. We have the Ahmadu Bello Way VI. There's a bridge there for the Kari Creek. Those two bridges are the human activities that are man-made structures that might obstruct the flow of water there. But we also have the Third Mainland Bridge. Okay. Now, the only way we know if, in truth, these activities can obstruct the flow of water outlets. So that way, if we have amount of water coming in, that same amount of water can go out into the ocean. Okay. Is if we check. And that is where the surveyors can come in. All right. So has that been checked from what you see? Are they being checked constantly? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I wouldn't know. But it's something that government needs to invest in and look at. Right. Okay. So, Surveyor AGWU Roberts, from the look of things,
it appears surveyors have not been able to, they've not been able to bring their knowledge to bear as relates to what Surveyor Dapo Fashina has said there, that the only way that could have been ascertained or perhaps averted is for these links to have been properly linked to the ocean. And now that we're having this kind of flooding, obviously it means those links have some kind of disruptions one way or the other. Is that not the case?
Well, I wouldn't say surveyors have not brought their expertise and their knowledge to bear, but I would say that surveyors have not really been engaged as they should.
Okay.
As they should, yes. Because we were having a conversation, myself and Surveyor Fashina, I think that was last week, and we talked about dredging and how dredging, as against the layman's perspective, that dredging actually aids flooding. But in actual sense, dredging would help mitigate flooding.
You mean it?
Yes, but that is when dredging is done properly.
Okay.
So you don't just go dredge for the sake of, from the point of economic or from the point of revenue generation. Yes. So there is an aspect where dredging will help you generate revenue, but there's also an aspect of dredging when it is properly done that will help mitigate flooding.
Right.
And that's where surveyors will come in.
So let's look at those aspects now, because I still want to connect the dots here from what he has said now. So we have some creeks, we have those areas that are supposed to empty into the lagoon, but rather than emptying, they have water retention, which somehow spills to the land and gets most places flooded. So from your observation now, Surveyor Dapo Fashina, let's get back to that. Which of them do you think is most problematic out of these three links to the ocean, which you mentioned?
Well, the major link is the Lagos Harbour. We have three bridges, the long one, which I don't think is a problem, the Third Mainland Bridge, and the other two short ones, which their pillars alone are source of obstruction. Not by themselves, but the fact that over time, when the water is not moving fast, you have sediments depositing in that area, so you reduce the flow. Now, if you start to dredge that area, just dredging, you might damage those infrastructure.
Okay.
But the government needs to find a way. We have intelligent minds that can come in and find ways to achieve that channel and actually increase the outflow and remove those restrictions there. To expand on what Surveyor AGWU said earlier,
yes.
You see, the Lagos Lagoon itself needs volume to be very effective. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the water accumulation that you should have. But even though you have that Lagos Lagoon having that volume, you also need them to flow out. So there are two things here. One is create the volume. And right now, the Lagos Lagoon, from most of our BATI surveys, they're very shallow. The deepest you find will be around, like I mentioned previously, around the areas where they have dredged for the all these estates like Orange Island and the likes, and the deepest we've seen is 23 meters. However, that is a rare case. What you find on the average is 4 meters, 5 meters. It is almost like land.
Wow.
So you technically can have, 4 meters deep, so -4 below means sea level.
And that's too shallow. So
it is pretty shallow.
Wow.
So you don't have that water accumulation that you should have. And then you also have this next problem, which is the outflow. So there are two things. So that's where dredging can come in as compared to how we think dredging is a problem.
I don't know if you guys have driven through some parts of Lagos and, taking a kind of microcosmic look at some of those areas that were really, really heavily flooded on Wednesday. One of the major talking points was Yanowuru, which is very close to the Third Mainland Bridge. From the surveyor's viewpoint, what do you think is going on there? Ogonna Roberts?
Okay, we had this same discussion on our way here, and we pointed out, or we noticed that certain areas that were not prone to floods in the past were flooded this time around. What exactly happened? If you look at, the Bagada axis, the Yanowuru axis, you look at Agor Palace Way. Yes, we understand that Agor Palace Way gets flooded, but it's something that rarely happens. But one thing we're able to identify was that these areas happen to be areas in close proximity to the canals or some of the water channels. So that means that the channels were probably overwhelmed as at the time the rains came. We had an average of about 7 to 9 hours of rain. That was not enough to have caused the level of flooding that we had in Lagos on Wednesday.
Okay.
So it's certain that something is wrong with our channels.
All right. And it means that, does that show ill preparedness for the rains? Dapo Fashina?
I would not say that outrightly. It's we are as Lagosians, some of us are really terrible. We see every day Lagos State government trying hard to clear the channels and even taking actions like demolishing properties. So it's an effort that it's not just the government that's going to have to do this. It's everyone has to come together and find a way to work together.
So peradventure, let's assume that modifying behavior that leads to waste management has been properly done, and we have a situation where everybody is making good use of LOMA. People are, cutting their waste properly and, getting the necessary PSP operators to come around, pick the waste up. Assuming we have that kind of scenario, would Lagos still avoid being flooded, considering the heavy volume of rain that we're experiencing? Is that possible?
Well, it will help reduce the degree to which we'll experience flooding. We must also understand that wrong waste disposal is not all that contributes to this issue of flooding. It only contributes to a certain percentage. So if wastes are disposed properly, you've only taken out that percentage that is responsible for flooding. We still have other factors. For instance, inadequate infrastructure, not on the part of government, but even on the part of individuals, where you have people building and developing locations and settlements without properly constructing drains. Yes, then we also have the issue of not having enough open areas. Every compound, every building, every property is now concreted 100%. So you've also reduced the volume of water that should, go into the ground.
All right.
In those areas.
All right. So, Surveyor, that professional, somebody says that Lagos is below sea level. That's the kind of knowledge we've always had, and they're saying that Lagos is sinking year in, year out. So, but if you put that in proper perspective, what else do you think we can do from what Surveyor Ogonna just mentioned right now? Inadequate infrastructure. What else can help out?
To start with, we can, on the government side, we can try and create that volume that we talked about and also improve on the outflow. Let me just say something on that. You see, this Lagos Lagoon has a lot of things coming into it. Outside the water channels in Lagos, you have the Ogun River. Remember, this Ogun River is also one way or the other connected to the Ogonna Dam. So when there's a lot of rain, there is no way that the dam management authorities wouldn't release the dam a little bit so that they don't end up flooding the neighboring communities around the dam. And that increases the amount of water that comes into the Lagos Lagoon at the same time as when you are having a lot of water inflow into the same Lagos Lagoon. So you have volume, and then you also have this Lagos Lagoon not spilling out. So that's first point, line of attack. Government should create the volume and also create a flow so that what comes in goes out as fast.
All right. Do we have models that we can emulate?
There is all
from the international community now. I mean, are there cities, are there countries that we can say, well, they have similar kind of structure, similar kind of things in terms of flooding activity, and these are the ways they were able to address it? Do we have that?
That is very interesting that you're going to ask. Pretty much I saw in advance that you were going to ask this question.
Okay.
And on that, I just researched a little bit and found that Tokyo, a very good example, was one of the prime example. I mentioned already the one I've seen in Houston, where you have underground tanks.
Right.
And they collect the water, and when the storm reduces, they start to discharge that water. So they are like retention points.
Oh.
But in Tokyo, they have dry retention pond. They are like playgrounds, but deep. They are playgrounds actually, very deep. Okay. And then they collect water temporarily. They have them in different places, and when the rain subsides, they start to pump this water out. Now, can we adopt this? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on where in Lagos. Because remember, like you have said, not 100% correct, but Lagos State is a low-lying, yes? So it's going to be hard for us to achieve those kind of dry retention pond.
Okay.
It doesn't mean, though, that we cannot emulate the underground water retention tanks that exist in other countries.
Okay.
It might be expensive, but that you have those underground retention tank doesn't mean you cannot have structures above it. In Tokyo, they actually have quite a lot of, I've not been there, but I've seen from what I saw, especially today.
Right.
They have a lot of, most of the malls are required to have those tanks below them.
Wow.
To prepare for this, which is very interesting to know.
All right. So behavioral patterns is very, very crucial in all of this for us to really avert these levels of flooding that we're talking about. And we've talked about indiscriminate waste dumping from the people as one. Somebody says that with these open drainage channels that we have, there's no way indiscriminate dumping can be averted. So we are Ogonna robots. Is there nothing we can do in that regard? I mean, I know I was speaking to someone and he said there's no way we can cover them all. But let's take this call. Hello there, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
All right, what's your name?
My name is Afolabi.
Afolabi.
I'm calling you now from Ikorodu.
All right.
I think the problem is the problem of the water we have in Lagos is costing 70% is from the people that live in Lagos.
Why do you say that?
Okay, some of us when we carry all our drainage, all our rubbish into the drainage. Mostly, if you go to my 12 now, you go to K3. Every day you see rubbish on the road. And they have a place that they're going to put rubbish inside the market. They should hold those people or the market leader responsible. Because the drainage that is on the main road of that K2 is blocking by the people that are putting the rubbish there. As I'm talking to you now, he's there. And I see the lawman parking in yesterday. By the time we're coming back at night, he's there again.
Right.
So we need to sit ourselves down and ask ourselves, are we doing something good to the community or are we doing bad to the community ourselves? The next one, we're going to say that the government is not doing good, the government is not there. Where are the problems? Where most of the problem, although the government has its own part, but 70% of us is we, the people that live.
Right. Okay, then.
The state causing the problem.
Which is
and
true.
Another system I want the government to do is to do like a Belgium. You see, Belgium is a swamp area.
Okay.
And every house in Belgium has a waterway. Even if you have 10, 15 stories, 10 stories, 20 stories, they have a place that even the water go through like a lagoon in between the estate or the local area. That's why they have so many bridges in Europe that open and close.
Wow.
That's my own contribution.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Afolabi from Ikorodu. And I think what you just mentioned right now is similar to what Surveyor Dapo Fashina just said. If you have this water retention, storm retention, open areas, maybe that can also help as well. Okay, so we can expand the discourse beyond the studios. Hello there, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm Dapo, AGWU.
Dapo, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm calling from Abuleba.
All right, go ahead.
I've been listening to our gentlemen, surveyors on the program. I want to bring another suggestion.
Okay.
If government can actually enforce the law. Number one, maybe they must have told you, is for government as part of the papers to be produced for any approval to be done, they should produce a flood vulnerability plan of each plot.
Okay.
So it should be part of the survey content as part of the paper you are going to put up for approval of your building. That is number one.
All right.
Secondly, is that each house should not be allowed to pave the entire compound.
Oh.
Half of the compound should be paved.
Okay.
If they have 4 flats, they can have walkway in between. The remaining or just the frontage should be paved for cars to be parked. but at the back, at the side, it should just be a walkway at the back so that they have lush green all around, even for the children to play, so that half of the water that percolates in a particular house will naturally sink. Very few of the water, small quantity of water will flow into the public drains, and this one will also reduce the flash floods that we are witnessing.
All right, Dapo Ajiboye, are you a surveyor as well?
No, thank you very much. I am.
Okay, because I can see the technical expertise that you're bringing in there as it relates to that. But let me appreciate you. Thank you so much for your concerns. So, do you share his sentiment? I mean, he suggested that before any plot of land is given those kind of approvals, there should be a kind of flood vulnerability plan. Do you agree with him?
Yes, I quite agree with him. We shouldn't just sit with just a cadastral survey and then you go ahead to produce your architectural drawings, structural drawings, and then site analysis reports, and then you get approval to build. No, you should go beyond just a cadastral survey plan. A flood vulnerability plan should also be there. You should also have elevations, topographical survey of that property. And then I have said it before on this show that Lagos State should begin to think of developing a floodplain level. I don't know whatever name they might want to call it, but every area of Lagos should have a level required for any development to take off from.
All right.
Yes, so that we don't just have people building discriminately.
All right, 08099120777 and 09153877127. Messages coming in as well. This one says, good morning, Traffic Radio. What measures has the Lagos State government taken to control flooding? Sheye from Iyanowuru. Send that one, right? This one says, good day, Lagos Traffic Radio, and good day, guys. It says, can you tell us about any ongoing flood control projects in Lagos State? Shade Ibrahim is sending that one in. Another one says, hello, Victor. How does the government ensure that new buildings comply with flood management regulations? I think this must be a part of Mr. Dapo's, the last caller, his concern. This one says, hello, my name is Shola. How can residents contribute to reducing the risk of flooding in the community? All right, maybe you want to address some of all these concerns, Surveyor Dapo Fashina.
Very well. Thank you very much. First of all, our colleague Surveyor Dapo Ajiboye, what he mentioned are the things we discussed last week. Yes, okay, and it's very correct. One of the additional things that layout estates, not individual plots, should do, and they do it, but the government needs to enforce it, not just have paperwork, but really enforce that they're actually following through with it.
Just a second, let's take this call. Hello there.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Victor.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Andrew on the line.
Andrew.
I want to add to the mix.
Good.
And your guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Is it the second to the last caller also? Said about 70%. It's about 90% of the people. No, do you know why?
Why?
Garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you give is what you take and you get. Look at Lekki. When you go to Lekki, the rain of the day before yesterday, people cannot go to their houses. I know two people, they have massive building at Lekki. They have other alternative house at mainland. One at Sule, while one is at Antony. That is when there's flood there, it goes to this other house. Now, that is not to say that we are doing the right thing. Look at Apapa from my two. Before the traffic was the road was made to be free.
All right.
The garbage and everything is filtered. Now it was done between December and February. They defiltered it. Now go and look at it. There were every flood at Apapa from Coconut down to Sunrise, the main carriageway and the service lane, because of filtering of the drainage system by the same people, 90% of the people.
All right.
So enforcement for people within there. When they do enforcement for people within there, they are the ones that will tell the people coming outside to seal it.
All right. Andrew, thank you so much for your suggestion. And as we gradually wind today, and I think we need to concentrate on that, since now we know that people play a major role in this flooding that's affecting Lagos, what next can we do? Is there a way Mr. Governor can decentralize enforcement to the local government level? Because as it is right now, it's only Loma and the Ministry of the Environment. They appear to be the only police guards, and they cannot be everywhere. So what next? What would be the suggestion? Surveyor Ogonna Roberts?
Okay, I think the governor, Mr. Governor, should empower enforcement to begin to happen at ward levels. Local government is still quite large. Let's get down to ward levels. And that's also why it is necessary that councillors reside within their wards. It's necessary that councillors and everyone in government resides within their areas of jurisdiction so that they can adequately monitor what is happening within their localities.
All right. Okay. Surveyor Dapo, Fashina, any other thing that can be done in the localities so that we do say this person is throwing drainage in the garbage. Loma cannot be there. So how can we police them?
You know, interestingly, there was a Twitter post where someone reported a neighbor that was dumping refuse,
right,
and sent it and attached
the location, and the commissioner did
something about it.
Yeah,
so that is some of the things that we expect from our people, where if you know something is going to affect you, then don't keep quiet when you see someone doing it. For the expansion of all this enforcement team, there's a particular gang they called IFAG.
Yeah,
it's Lagos State
Environmental Flood Abatement
gang.
Right.
They just need to expand that team and allow the local government and the ward level to also be part of the gang.
All right. Tosi Lawal is sending the message. He said, is the government looking at international collaboration or partnership for flood management in Lagos? Tosi Lawal is sending that in. Is that a direction we should be looking at as well, Ogonna Roberts?
Well, since we like international collaborations a lot in Nigeria, we can also explore that. But I think a lot needs to be done about our cultural practices. A lot needs to be done. We need to change our ways. We need to begin to act right in Lagos State. Because this state is ours.
All right.
And if we damage it, we have nowhere else to go to.
Okay, then. Those are very, very positive words from Ogonna Roberts, and I think that would just be a suitable avenue to terminate this conversation this morning. We wish we can continue this, but the whole idea is for you and I to act responsibly by ensuring that we take good care of our environment. The government has been making these campaigns, and we've seen the results out there. Only one heavy downpour of 7 hours, and the whole place was locked down. What if it continued for like 5 days? What do you think will happen? All right, so that's a food for thought for us all. So let's ensure that we take good care, ensure that we, package our waste properly and allow the PSPs to come around to pick them up. On the government side, let's improve on the infrastructure, and then we can make things much better. Surveyor Dapo, Fashina, thank you so much for being here on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and to Ogonna Roberts, nice having you in the studios as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then. The program has been produced by Mike James. I say a big thank you to our social media team. Our executive producer is Tayo Akonle. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a splendid weekend.